Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
We'll just wait.
Just waiting a few minutes until we get some more people on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're here, just say hello so that we know we're talking to somebody.
So the wind today is pretty wild. Did you hear they're talking about power outages? So hopefully we don't get a power outage.
Yes.
With the wind, and the internet hangs in there. And
yeah, it's supposed to start snowing at 7 p.m. and go until 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning.
Shh.
Yeah. Let's manifest something different. All right, so we've got a couple of people on here.
We're just waiting. Welcome, everybody.
Feel free to say hi. All righty. Hi, Jackie. I'm gonna be the one that's like, hi.
I know you are.
And that's okay.
Jackie's is my relative.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Amy.
We're excited to be doing our second Facebook Live.
Yes.
We're going to work on a lineup to do some of these on a regular basis too, because, well, turns out we both like to talk a lot, so it works out really well that we can come on here and talk. And hi, Lori.
Yeah, so if you guys have any things that you'd like to talk to us about for future Facebook Lives, feel free to either message the page or even just post it on here so we can see what kind of topics that you would like to have.
Exactly.
But it looks like we've got a few people here now, so why don't we start with tonight's topic?
Can everybody hear us okay? Let's just make sure that everything's working okay. Can somebody say...
Love you too, Amy.
I love you, Amy, even though I don't know you. I still love you.
Oh, we're sad and we're angry.
Who's angry?
Oh, dear.
I'm sorry. I'd love to know you, Amy. Don't be angry.
Hi, Stu. That really just took me off. I was like, what did we say that was so angry about?
And who was that?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, tonight we're talking about manifesting, creating the magic, right?
Yeah.
Because it is pretty sweet when you can create what you're wanting in life.
Yes, absolutely. And as we're stepping into 2020, tomorrow night at midnight, first off, I'll say you don't have to wait until the new year to change your life completely. It literally is just one moment you can go, okay, I'm going to change things now. And then you get to start redirecting the way that you're wanting to do it. But for everybody, it's like as soon as the new year hits, everyone's wanting these changes and everyone's inspired to make the changes and to create something new for themselves, which is why let's talk about manifesting. Let's talk about setting our intentions.
That's right. Because I made the decision last year. I wasn't setting resolutions, because people make resolutions and then they break them and then they feel bad about breaking them. But I set intention, and with intention, you have a different outlook on how you're moving forward. And with intention, you can also adjust as you go without losing momentum. So I'm no longer doing resolution. I only do intention.
Yes. And I actually seen a really cool play on intention where they said when you set an intention, you're actually going inwards to tend to your own inner garden. And in that's where the growth starts to happen. So if you're setting an intention, say, for better health, or for perfect health, then you're actually going within yourself and asking your body, what do you need in order to have perfect health for yourself? And just when I read that, I was like, that really resonates with me. When I'm setting an intention, now I know it's about putting it out there, but it's also about doing the work in here.
Right?
Yeah.
And it really, there is a bit of a, I don't want, I'm going to say a trick because we're talking about magic. There is a bit of a trick to how you go about setting intention in order to manifest what you really want. And I mean, I think that's really what we wanted to talk about tonight. If anybody has questions as we're going, please put them in there. And we're going to try and answer them as best we can as well. And I mean, let's talk about the magic. I have to tell you guys, you're really fortunate because Catherine is like the super manifester, and I'm getting much better at it. I'm pretty good at it, but she's incredible.
Thank you.
And she's manifested some pretty significant things in her life, and it's been it's helped me to learn as well how to become a better manifester. And what's really good with us is sometimes we bounce off of each other, what's going on, and we help each other come up with the right way to approach something, which it's always a good idea. If you aren't really sure of how to set a proper intention, then ask and play with it. And you know, we're always happy to give our input into anybody's intentions. So we're kind of like that.
Yes. Yeah, so one of the biggest things is actually the way that you're wording what it is that you're wanting to create or manifest into your life. And when you're creating the wording, a lot of us will go, I want to have the perfect career. And as soon as you're saying I want, you're actually saying I'm separate from what this career is. Okay. But if you say I have the perfect career as though it's something that you already have, then you've actually switched the vibration of it right there by saying that it's something that is already yours. And it literally is that simple.
And want is all about lack, right? As soon as you put want out there, you have created lack in your statement.
Yeah.
So this is where the words become really important.
Yes. And well, can I share a story about?
Absolutely.
Okay. So a few years ago, there's a book by a woman named Pam Grout, and it's called E Squared, and it's all about the law of manifesting and creating things in your life and whatever. And one of the experiments that she has in the book is that you're supposed to ask for a gift for yourself, and it's supposed to come into your life in 72 hours. So I said, I want to receive flowers from my husband within 72 hours. And that was the intention that I set. And 72 hours came and went. He did not buy me flowers. And I was a little pissed. And it was like one of those, like, you know, where you're sitting in the living room and you're kind of looking at him and going, why didn't you buy me flowers? You were supposed to buy me flowers. That was my intention. And he finally said to me, like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm fine. And he asked a few more times, like, are you sure I didn't do something? And then I said, well, you were supposed to buy me flowers because that was my intention. And he said, well, you can't manipulate someone else to do something for you. That's something that you would have to say, I just want to receive flowers. And I was like, oh, okay, you're right. So then I reset the intention, and this time just saying, I want to receive flowers. So then the next day I go to Sobeys, and I was getting milk, and I had my little guy in the umbrella stroller, so there's like no basket or anything. So I was holding on to milk in one hand and pushing the stroller with the other hand. And as I went to pay, the manager came on the overhead speaker, and he said, attention Sobeys shoppers, for anybody who would like, all of our fall planters are now free in order to make room for the Christmas stock. And I was like, oh, awesome. I could get some fall planters and take them home. But then I'm thinking, I don't know how I'm going to carry them or anything like that. So I start walking through the parking lot, leaving the fall planters behind, and realizing as I'm going through the parking lot, I just said no to flowers. They were literally right there. They were trying to give them to me, and I said no. And then the next day, and this is not a lie, I'm in the house, and my neighbor knocks on the door, and he's had to go gluten-free. So he offers me a 25-kilogram bag of flour. And I said, no, it's fine. We were just at Costco, and we've got a huge bag of flour, so it's fine. And he was like, okay. And as soon as I shut the door, I went, oh my God, the universe just gave me flowers again. And again, I refused to receive it. Now, in the Sobeys thing, it wasn't flowers in the way that I had thought that I was going to receive them. And when it came to my neighbor giving me flowers, or flour, sorry, It wasn't flowers in the way that I also thought I was supposed to receive them. So sometimes we can get so stuck on what our image is of what that's supposed to look like that we actually start turning away from the ways that it's actually trying to show up for us.
Right?
Yes.
And if you wanted cut flowers, then you should have been more specific.
To say, I want cut flowers.
I want cut flowers. And the universe will then bring you what you asked for.
Yes.
But when you just say, I want flowers, you have to accept it the way it was.
Yes.
We were having a conversation today, and it was, I want better health. And I said, how much is better? Is it this much? Because if it's only this much, you may already have it. So let's be really sure about how much you really want. And I want to be in my best possible health, and I want to be free of pain or sleepless nights or whatever it is that's working for you or not working for you. And we have to be clear on what we want. And because when we leave it up to the universe is going to try to give us what we ask for. And if we turn it away, well, it's our own fault. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people will say to me, well, is it okay if I get specific as to what it is that I want? And I always use the example that if you go into a restaurant and the waiter comes up to you and he says, what is it that you want to eat? And you're like, you know what? I trust you. Bring me whatever on the menu that you think is good. And they show up and they've got liver and onions and boiled potatoes and like soggy vegetables. Sounds or something.
Pretty good.
Not for me. You can have that plate then.
Okay. I love liver and onions.
It's to each their own. So they could bring that to you and you might be like, that's not what I asked for. Okay. But you didn't actually set the intention for what it was that you actually wanted. But if you're in a restaurant and you sit down and you're like, I want a steak done medium rare, and I want a baked potato loaded with all of its fixings, and I want steamed vegetables, and I want cheesecake for dessert. That's exactly what they're going to bring you out. So the universe is no different. I always think of them as like a little restaurant waiter. Okay, universe, this is what I want now. And then to trust and believe that it's actually going to happen. Because we don't stop waiters at restaurants to go, hey, is my food almost done? Like every 2 minutes, is it done? Am I going to get it soon? Am I going to get it soon? Am I going to get it soon? We don't. We just trust that they've taken the order. It's getting prepared in the kitchen. Something bigger like a steak is going to take a little bit longer than, say, fried eggs.
And if you ask too many times, if it's ready, you might get it half cooked. Here you go. Yeah. Because you want it now. Well, I need it now. Can you bring it to me now? And it's not ready. You could be eating raw liver. That I wouldn't like.
So Amy, I see your question here. We believe in manifestation, but how do you stay in the mindset and not go back to old habits? So my first thought on that is to just be aware that you do have old habits that are happening. Okay. Right. As soon as you're aware of those habits, they're no longer in control because you're going, oh, I'm now separate from this because I'm holding the space for who I am. And in that space, there's this piece of me that doesn't believe it's even going to happen or doesn't believe I'm good enough for it or whatever. So then you've separated yourself and just paying attention to those old habits. What triggered the old habit? What triggered the old belief that you can't have this thing that you're looking for or that you're wanting to create in your life?
And because you're able to identify that, oh, that's an old way of thinking or now you're starting to change your mindset anyways. And you will eventually move past those old habits and into the new, into a new way of looking at things. And I mean, sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, oh, let's change that. And it's like, I'm tired of being sick. Well, I don't want to be sick. I want to be healthy. So I am healthy. That's changing the wording. And because a lot of people will say, I can't wait till I'm not sick anymore. And we're putting the word sick out to the universe, and the universe can't really determine between I don't want to be or I don't want. When they hear sick, they're like, you want to be sick? Okay, here you go, more sick. And things will linger on. And I say about sick, but I mean, it works around debt as well. Don't use the word debt. Don't use the word debt. Don't use the word debt. Because the universe will give you more debt every time.
Cancel all of the debts that you just said.
Yes. And we talk about, instead of debt, we talk about abundance. I live in an abundant state, and I'm grateful for the abundance of all that I have: health, happiness, love, peace, joy, even challenge. I'm always grateful to have a challenge because that keeps me engaged and moving forward. Doesn't mean I'm asking for hardship. It just means I also want to be motivated. I don't know if that answered your question or not. So things to think about when you're setting down to look at your intentions, especially, we are coming up to a big year, 2020, and I keep saying, 2020 is perfect vision, and we don't really have perfect vision, but I think we have the opportunity to have a clearer vision than we've had in a long time. And I think people are really starting to realize there's more to the universal energies and what's available to us than ever before. And there are no limits. Yeah. The only limits are the ones we've created for ourselves. So let's talk about how do we go about getting to a place of really being clear on what we want. And so I like to suggest that we try to go as big in the picture as you can. If you're talking about health, then you want to be healthier in every way that you can, as opposed to like, I just want to feel better. You don't want to be so specific.
And another thing that I often have to ask myself or ask my clients as well is, if it's something like, I want perfect health, okay, what are the emotions that are attached to perfect health? Okay, so does perfect health mean freedom? For me to have perfect health, it would mean freedom, that I have no physical limitations that would stop me from, say, playing with my kids or running a marathon or whatever the case might be.
And going to work every day.
Yes. So for me, the emotion there would be freedom. The same as with finances. For me to become a millionaire, okay, what does being a millionaire actually feel like for me? To me, again, it's freedom. It's freedom to do as I want to do. It's freedom to help as many people as what I possibly can. It's freedom to hop on a plane and go to Hawaii for a weekend because I just want to go to Hawaii. And so again, it's not so much about the finances, it's about the freedom. For some people, driving a Lamborghini, actually my 7-year-old is like obsessed with having his own Lamborghini right now. So what is the emotion that's tied to Lamborghini? It might be, I want to feel successful. Okay, so what does successful look like? And the more you can break down into the emotions that you're actually wanting to feel rather than the thing or the outcome of what it is that you want, the more you'll begin to actually experience that in your life, which actually raises your vibration and makes it easier for the things that you're really wanting to come forward.
Right? Because if you wanted $1 million and you got $1 million, is that going to fulfill you? Or is it you want to be happy with the ability to be as free as you can be because financially you're not restricted, right? So it's not about saying I want $1 million. It's about, I would like financial abundance to be able to do anything that I have the inclination to do, the time, the energy, the desire. And so it's really not about the things that you want, but how you want your life to look and how you want to feel in the life you're creating.
Yeah,
I think it's really an important part of what that part of the freedom is very powerful. Lisa wrote, freedom is such a powerful thing, and she's absolutely right. Being able to, get up and go for a walk and not be restricted because of even a physical ailment or a political restriction or religious restriction. We're very lucky in this country, and we maybe need to be certain to include that in our gratitudes every day. That we are very fortunate to live in a country where we have so many freedoms, and it's great. And I want to say, like, the idea of deciding on how you want to feel is a great way to approach setting your intentions.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So Sandy says it's also not the perfect word to describe what we want, as it's pretty much impossible to get.
I'm going to sort of disagree with that because
Okay.
every I want to say we can have anything. If you can imagine it, you can have it.
Yes.
This is it. And there's no the only thing that limits us is ourselves. Because people say, oh well, some people are born into privilege and some people just are born with money and some people have a better advantage. But you know what? Everybody it comes into this world the same way. It's you're created through the same process, and where you land in this planet will certainly have some impact on what you have available to you. But you can create whatever it is you want to create. And I have to say that I'm going to use Oprah because people sometimes think Oprah is over the top, and but you know what? Oprah came from nothing. Oprah fought for what she wanted. She never lost sight of where she wanted to be. She moved ahead. She has opportunities given to her now because she created the energy so that they would come. And I think what she's been able to accomplish is amazing. Nobody is any different than Oprah. It's about if you have the same mindset as her, the same drive, you create the same frequency around you also can create the opportunities. Now, you also have to be brave enough to take the opportunities when they come because sometimes they come and we go, oh, I don't think I can do that.
Yes. And so, Sandy, I seen what you said there, just to kind of connect with you a little bit more on that. Sorry, I just have to scroll up here. So you'd said we have to work. We are responsible for other people and ourselves. We have bills and we have to pay taxes and so on. Freedom is a tough word for me. Awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah. So let freedom be a tough word for you, because in that you're actually constricting yourself. Okay. So there's obviously some struggle there or some trigger there that is wanting to be seen by you, wanting to be loved by you, that's telling you that you can't actually experience freedom. And if you're able to actually see that you're in this limitation in yourself, to go, I can't experience freedom because look at all of these responsibilities I have. Yeah, I get it. I've got those same responsibilities. We've got kids, we've got bills, I have to work, I have to do all of these things. I have to do things that I actually don't even have to do, but I'm telling myself I have to do because somewhere in my existence, there's been a story that's been dropped in my head that says, you need to do this, you need to do that. And that actually takes me away from the freedom. But when I allow myself to go, what is it my heart's truly wanting right now? Yes, okay, bills need to get paid, obviously. Otherwise, I'm going to be out on the streets or
But
without
where
hygiene.
that abundance comes from, that's where you have the freedom, right?
Exactly. And one thing actually, when those bills come in, to have gratitude for the bills, to just be like, oh, thank God, I've got enough money to pay for this. I always will, because most of us, when bills come in, we do have enough money. It sucks to have to put that money out, but we always receive it back. Money is not something that it just stops. As soon as you pay it, you're not going to receive more. You're constantly going to have more money come in and money go out. It's kind of like breathing, where you breathe in and you breathe out. And then you're going to breathe in again and you're going to breathe out again.
Exactly. So Sandy, I think that we've been in the place where you are and totally get the idea that I have all these responsibilities, and as much as I'd like to be able to be free to do all of this other stuff, I do have responsibilities. Absolutely got that. So maybe when you're looking at what your intention might be, maybe it's about having the abundance to be able to nurture and care for all those people that you have near you that you are holding responsibility for, and in a way in which the finances come easy and financial abundance comes in many ways and not just about um, how much money you bring in on a paycheck. Financial abundance is about you know getting a discount or needing to buy something and it's on sale when you need to buy it. That's all contributes to your financial abundance. It's about if you need to get a new fridge, that's the week that the one you need is on sale and it saves you $200, or the delivery is free, or the technician comes and installs it for you at no cost. Those are all part of abundance. It's about having the expense maybe minimized. Maybe there's special offers on. If you don't call your cable company on a regular basis and say, I need a better price, you're throwing money away. Honestly, phone and cable, and just phone them and say, what can you do for me? And they often will just change your pricing. So these are ways to bring more money to you, to give you more freedom. Doesn't mean that everybody next week is suddenly going to have millions of dollars at their disposal and we're all going to just be like hanging out in the park. No, I don't think that's realistic. But I think that we can all create an easier life than what we're currently living, because we're living based on the old school thought that the only way to be successful is to work hard and to work for somebody else and to be paid what we believe they think we should be paid. And I don't believe that anymore. I believe that you're going to get paid what you want to be paid. And I encourage people to think about being heart-led when they're working, and people kind of look at me and I said, like, if you're going to work for somebody and they're paying you $50,000 a year to do a job, at the end of a year you're going to get a cost of living of maybe 2%. So next year you're going to make $51,000. If you start your own business, this year you might make $10,000. And then next year you double it to $20,000, and the third year maybe you're making $120,000. In your other job you're up to $52.50. It's if when you work for somebody else, you get some benefits. You get benefits and you get a paycheck without fail, and until they shut down on you or whatever. But it's you kind of have to decide what works for you. And don't want to say to people like, everybody go quit your job. But I want to say there are other opportunities out there. We have to be open to them. We need to be brave. It takes bravery to trust and allow the manifesting to happen as well. Because we also have this idea that we need to control how everything works, and that's not true either.
No, the more you step into the how, the further away it seems to go, because it's as soon as you trust that you're going to be okay, that this thing is going to happen for you, that there's nothing that you need to do. Like literally it's all hands off, and okay, universe, I put it up to you and I'll show up. This is the thing. You do need to show up.
Yes.
You do need to take action, and heart-led action, not running your ass off basically to try and get to the result, where you're just going, okay, so what do I need to do today? And today it might be you need to do a Facebook Live. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then the universe, in you doing that, they start to go, okay, so we're going to chunk all these pieces together now, and this next inspired idea is going to come to you. And then you take that next inspired idea and you just keep moving like that. And that's where the greatest magic happens, because then your brain's not even in control anymore.
Today I had big plans for this afternoon, and we were going to do this one from my office in Guelph, and got there and the internet was down. Won't be fixed till tomorrow, so we had to sort of make a replan, and everything that I had planned to do this afternoon kind of got kiboshed because I didn't have the internet. And I'm like, so I meditated instead, and while I was meditating I got 2 emails and booked new clients, and so I have new appointments booked because I just let it happen, and I didn't have to do anything else. So that's the rotten people who are coming to fit my internet are actually trying to phone me right now, and I have the phone on silent, but it just lit up, so they'll just have to go to voicemail. So I don't know if we answered that question or if I went off completely on a tangent.
Sandy says, thank you. I'm financially stable. I'd love a bunch more creativity, though. You ladies are awesome. Thanks again. So Sandy, step into creativity. What is creativity for you?
Yeah.
Okay. For some people, it might be drawing. For some people, it might be speaking. For some people, it might be painting or singing or playing guitar or gardening, cooking. There's so many different creative outlets. Just start doing them, and don't worry about whether or not you're good at them or not. That you're just doing it because that's what your heart's leading you to do. Because there's not a child out there, like, you grab a 2-year-old, you give them a crayon, they're going to create you a masterpiece. And you might not be able to understand what that masterpiece is, but the child knows. Okay? We're born to sing, to dance, and to create art. All of us. You don't even have to teach a child how to do it. They just know how to do it.
And we trust, and we're not fearful, and it's, yeah. So it's you know, it's really about getting yourself into a place where you feel like I can just let it happen. And it's not something that happens in 5 minutes. I mean, it's taken me several years to get to a place where I'm just like, okay, I'm just putting it out there. This is what I want. And if you really want to play with it, like, play with things like, I need that next light to be green, or I need a parking spot near the front door because I got to run in and out and I don't have a lot of time and it's pouring rain and I just want the spot in the front. You will get it, but you have to ask for it. And then you need to be grateful that you got it. You have to express gratitude.
Yes.
This is an important thing. And I get the good parking spots all the time. As I'm driving up, I express gratitude for getting and I don't wait till I get it to be grateful. I express gratitude for what I want, and then when it shows up, I'm grateful for it showing up. So today I was going out to meet some friends for lunch, and I'm like, I'm grateful that I got a parking spot in that first row, and I didn't have any trouble parking in that lot. And I pulled in and backed into the second spot in the first row, and right beside my friend, actually, and got out of the car and said thank you for that, and walked into the restaurant. It was great. I mean, when I was setting the intention, it was raining. When I got there, it had stopped, but
because they just cleared that up for you too.
Right? So
yes.
it really is part of the whole thing. I mean, start on a smaller scale until you sort of get a feel for it. You know, you don't need to do all your major life changes in the next day. Start with I want that parking spot, or I need to arrive on time. If you're running late for something, it's because, well, first of all, they're keeping you from being somewhere specifically at a time. So be grateful for that. But if you need to get safely somewhere out of town and you don't know for sure where you're going, you set an intention that you get there safely, easily, without delay, and then you go. And then when you get there, be grateful that you arrived exactly when you needed to be, and you found it without any difficulty.
Yes. Danielle, I see what you said about being eternally single. So I'll tell you, I manifested my husband.
She did. This is a great story.
So back in 2006, that's when I started on my healing journey, and I wanted a soulmate. I wanted a man who understood me, who would be that kind of relationship, like kind of like what you see on TV or whatever, just that like supportive male energy. And I sat down and I wrote a list of everything that I wanted in a man. And I had things on my list like, he must know how to cook. He must be good with kids, because I had 3 kids already. He had to have a nice butt. That was one that was on there. And he had to be good in bed as well.
I don't know about that. I just know John is really nice.
Yes.
And he does cook really well.
I can attest for the other things. I also wanted someone that would go to art galleries with me. Even though I'd never stepped foot in an art gallery, that to me seemed like something that I wanted to do with this guy. I wanted him to have a good relationship with his mother, but not too good of a relationship with his mother. You know, it was
right.
Like all of these things. I think there were 78 things on the list. And then I just put it out to the universe, and I said, okay, you guys go and get him for me. I'm going to trust that this guy exists. And I had people, like, there was so many people who did not believe that this was actually going to happen. Like, they told me to stop watching romantic movies. They told me that it was never going to happen. They told me, like, so much stuff. And put the list out. Then I met this guy, and he was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. 2 months later, we're moving in together, and I find my list, and here's my list with the guy that it's John. I'm still with him. But he was a cook in a restaurant, so he knows how to cook. He has 3 kids of his own. He's great with my kids. He's got a great relationship with his mom, but not like weird. For the art gallery thing, he's actually had art featured in art galleries. So we've gone to art galleries together. And as I was going through the list, I was realizing, like, oh my goodness, everything that I wanted was actually on this piece of paper, and now I've got this man standing right beside me who's the exact same thing. So it is totally possible. It's totally, you can put out there, this is what my perfect man looks like, or my perfect woman, whatever you prefer. So was it Danielle that said that? Okay, sorry. So Danielle, I would invite you to, what is your perfect mate? What does that look like? What kind of relationships, or what kind of relationship qualities are you looking for? Is it okay if you're eternally single? Is that okay? Because if it's not, you're going to continue to resist the energy of bringing someone in, because you're actually telling yourself that having someone is more important than you just being by yourself. Okay. And you're the number one in your life, just like we're all the number ones in our own lives. But we have to actually
stop reading. Just
I'm sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. We have to be okay with ourselves in order to bring in that mate for us as well. And to 100% trust that you're actually going to bring this person into your life, and that this person is going to be just as in love with you as what you are with them.
Right?
I see that, Leah. That's awesome that you brought your husband in the exact same way. I call it Recipe for a Boyfriend 101. It's
well, and I'll have people be sitting with me in a reading, and they're like, but I just want love in my life, and I just can't find the one. Then I'm like, okay, first of all, you need to talk about what you want. Because people will say, don't give me, I don't want any more assholes.
Well, then don't have an asshole come into your life.
Stop talking about assholes and start talking about what you want.
Yes.
I don't want another one who lives in his mother's basement and has no job, and then suddenly that's what they get. And they're like, I said, you got to change what you're asking for. You need to be specific. If you want somebody who's tall, dark, and handsome and fully employed and has their own property and has their own bank account and is emotionally and mentally stable and loves to dance and will sing.
We're hearing Janice's perfect man for herself.
Yes, exactly. Hello, where are you? But it's true. You need to love yourself first, because if you can't love yourself, then you can't love someone else. So develop a good relationship with yourself, then create in your mind who deserves you, really.
And can I just add to that, though? So when I brought my husband into my life, I didn't actually love myself. So to me, having to love yourself first isn't necessarily a key ingredient, because I would say probably in the past 2 years is when I've really started to actually fall in love with myself and be totally okay with who I am. But he was able to love me and love parts of me that I was like, this is so bad. Like, this is so unlovable. You should not be loving me right now. But he was able to love me for that, and then give me the space to see that it's totally okay for me to love myself and these kind of weird quirkiness things that I have.
Danielle, we so wanted you to be
with Robert.
With Robert.
Yes.
Sorry.
He disappeared.
I don't know. We're doing the All About Women show in May, first weekend in May. Hopefully Robert will be there, and we'll say to him, "What the hell?"
So Danielle, if it's okay, I will share the story. So Danielle came to our table, and she was talking to us about how she wanted a man, and she wanted a strong, good-looking man, and a
nice guy,
and whatever else. And Robert was one of the show people that like helps you set up your tables and everything else, make sure that everything's going okay for you. And he came up to the table about 5 minutes later.
Before.
Oh, no, it was before. That's right. And he was saying that he wanted to meet a good woman. And when was he going to meet a good woman? And we're like, well, there's this Robert guy. And as soon as we said his name, he walked through the hallway down to our booth. And we were like, Robert, you're here. Perfect. Meet Danielle and let's get you two together. But he went missing in action. So
yes, he wasn't at the last show that we did. So I don't know if he'll be at the next one or not.
yeah.
But if he is, Daniel, we'll find out what's going on. But look, Erica also manifested her husband.
Yeah, and a lot of people do. It's the most amazing way, because I think for the most part it's about getting clear about what you actually want rather than just settling for whoever shows up. That you're getting clear and you're having these stipulations to go, I'm willing to take this but not so willing to take this part.
Yeah, it really, and then losing the negative words, right? Don't talk about what you don't want, focus on what you do want, and focus on how you want to feel, as opposed to being very specific about, I want a big screen TV and I want to, what if you asked for a Lamborghini and you didn't get a Lamborghini but you got another equally awesome car offered to you? Would you say, no, I want a Lamborghini, I'm not taking your car?
Or what if you just envision as you're driving down the road in your Dodge Caravan that you're driving a Viper and this is what it feels like to drive a Viper, and you just feel that kind of freedom and that energy of what that might feel like for you one day.
Right?
Yeah. And if you do have that, because I know I still have those negative thoughts come up that, oh my God, this is never going to happen and this is taking forever and what do I have to do? What do I have to change? La, 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 la. And if those thoughts start to come up, to just give yourself the space to go, okay, so I'm having these thoughts right now and I'm just kind of vomiting all over the place of all of my negative energy. But then when you're done, you can be, okay, I'm going to clear that out now. That's not the energy. That's not the intention that I'm setting. But you're clearing that out and you're making yourself aware of, I just had a bunch of negative thoughts.
Amanda, I would say don't even put them on the back burner. Like, toss those negative thoughts out.
Or to be okay with having negative thoughts. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back and forth with you here. But
I don't think putting them on the back burner is the way to create what you want. I think that if you know what is negative, you can turn that around. It's not that we should never have a negative thought. We're not suggesting that. But if we can recognize that it's a negative thought, okay, so I have this crappy job. Let's just say that. I have a crappy job. I want a different job. This job is crappy. Why don't we just change that into like, I have a job that fulfills me financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, whatever you need it to be, and you start thinking about it in that way as opposed to feeling stuck in a crappy job, right? And it's not that we never have a negative thought. I have them all the time.
Yeah, negative thoughts, negative emotions, it's part of being human.
Yes.
And to be okay with the fact that you are having a negative thought or a negative emotion, because what it's actually showing you is a part of yourself that's wanting to be seen, to be heard, to be loved, to be validated. Okay.
Right.
So today, when Janice arrived, she was telling me about her Bell Internet thing that was happening, and she was saying that she had asked for them to come between 1 and 3, and then she got the confirmation that it was between 3 and 5, and she's like, so now this guy's going to show up and it's going to be 5 o'clock because it's New Year's Eve and he's not going to give a shit and he's going to go out and he's going to have his lunch while he's doing this because this is what happened last time. And I was like, or
I know. See, I was totally right in the negative.
She was in the negative. And so it was just, or he could show up at 3 and get it done so quickly, because that's actually a possibility for you as well. And then that's when this switch kind of happened for her. So was her negativity a bad thing? No, it wasn't a bad thing.
It's where I was in the moment.
It's where she was in the moment. And it's about honoring, this is where I am in the moment. This is where I am based on my previous experience, because that actually was what she had experienced before. So she's going, this is how this is going to happen now because of the previous experience. But as a friend, I can say to her, or it's going to be totally different. And so if you can offer that space to yourself where you can go, so this is what the past experience has been, so this is how it must be. Or this really amazing thing could actually happen. He could show up at 3 and he could bring coffee to me because it's New Year's Eve and
yes.
He could be the love of your life. He's going to take you dancing.
Oh, well, there you go.
You never know.
So I have reframed my thoughts around my service call tomorrow, and it will be a beautiful thing, and he will actually want to come early and I will meet him there before 3 o'clock, and then he'll be done, and the evening will be free after that, and the internet will be fixed.
And so it is.
Exactly. Noreen, have you got single men? Is that what? Who's Noreen? Oh, Noreen. So, Victoria, what's making you want to change your career location? Is that like you're wanting to change careers, or you're wanting to move? And if you're wanting to move, then create the intention that it matches what you're desiring. It's not up for us to tell you whether you should live somewhere or not, or work somewhere or not. It's for you to decide what's best for you and how it should work. Oh, okay. I thought maybe Noreen was the keeper of all the single men.
She's someone that some women needed to contact. Noreen, you might have a lot of PMs coming to you.
Yeah. You might have to unlock the basement.
So, Victoria, to go back to your question, and there was actually someone right before you who also said that Amanda had said that she needs a new job as well. So, okay. So, Victoria, yours is about moving, I guess? Or are you just saying, do you want permission to move?
Because the question was, should I be changing my career location? And then you questioned me saying move. So yeah, it's about, if you're not happy where you're working, you have a couple of options. One, you look at what's creating the unhappiness, and can you make a change that will make it easier for you to be in a better space, which isn't always possible. And if not, what needs to happen in order for you to create another opportunity? And if you want a different location, or you want a different opportunity, then set the intention. Marie, you come to my classes. That's how you trust your intuition. It's hard to get to the place of trust. Trust is interesting, because so many times we feel like when we trust, we get burnt or we get hurt. And so it's tough to get to a place of trust. But when we are able to set our intentions in a way, and then allow and trust that the universe will bring us what we need, not necessarily what we want, but what we need, and it starts to happen, the trusting becomes easier to do. That makes sense.
Yes. So Victoria's saying, I am, but there is family if I move. Okay, so what does your heart actually want out of this?
Yeah.
That's really what the bigger question is do you want to move to be with the family? Do you want to move away further from the family so you don't have that kind of responsibility with you? I know how old your kids are and stuff, so I can say that openly. It comes down to, what does your heart want next? What are you wanting to create for yourself? If you change job locations, will that be the key to your happiness? It may be, it may not be. That's really only something that you yourself can answer. All right. LC. So LC says, for many years, negative things keep happening in my life. 2 house fires, a sewer backup, a flood, burst pipes, a few car accidents, numerous deaths. It's almost surreal. I don't feel like I'm negative, but could I be manifesting these events? Suggestions on intentions to change this.
So my first thought is, we can create these events without fully intending to. I always say, when you're setting intentions, you always have to do them for the highest and best good of all, because that's important. Because you could say, I want $1 million, and then there's a house fire and somebody dies, and the insurance company gives you $1 million. Well, you've been given $1 million, which is what you asked for. And Okay, Lisa, we won't call you LC. Lisa, and I'm not suggesting that you manifested these fires, but it's a good reminder that when we're setting intentions, we should always do it for the highest and best good, for all involved, so that we don't then carry guilt around getting gain from other loss. Um, if you're worrying about the loss, or the potential of loss, uh, if you're in a new house and I hope there isn't a fire, or I hope, the roof doesn't collapse, or I hope my car doesn't break down. When you start putting those thoughts out, then you can create situations where things start manifesting exactly how you're asking them to. So you got to be kind of mindful of things like that. And if you catch that you've done it, like do it, cancel, 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 and then reframe it. Say it out loud, write it out, do it in a way, I set an intention that my car gets me safely where I'm headed without fail and on time. And then your car doesn't break down. But if you worry about it breaking down on the way there, it may very well do that.
And I think too, sometimes life happens. And it's not that we've set the intention that life is going to happen and a loved one is going to die, or your house is going to start on fire, or your vehicle is going to break down, or you're going to have a car accident. Sometimes we're not setting those intentions, but there might be other people that are part of that kind of energy. So maybe a firefighter wants to have his first fire because he hasn't actually fought one before. And by your house going on fire, as horrible as what it might be for you, that firefighter gets to fight his very first. And you're actually fulfilling his dream by this kind of negative thing happening for you, which might sound like a really shitty way to help somebody. But at the same time, if you can start to reframe just the way you're looking at it, okay? Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers' Neighborhood, one of the things that his mom said to him when he was a little boy and he was watching the news was look for all of the helpers, okay? So when you're having these bad things happening to you, or as a part of what your experience is in the moment, to start looking for what are the helpers that are coming forward for me right now. So was it back in May? My vehicle broke down on the 401 in Toronto, and it was like I was not in a very positive, happy mindset place at all. I was pissed off. I was tired. I was crying. I was just like, this is not happening to me right now. And I ended up having a tow truck driver who was a little bit iffy, but I was like, okay, here we go. The vehicle got to the garage fine. I met a woman whose vehicle also broke down. It was her alternator, and it was some sort of temperature thing on mine. But I talked to her. She used my cell phone so she could call a tow truck for herself. I was able to create money out of that. There was all of these things that actually worked out perfectly, even though in the moment I was like, this is horrible, but everything ended up working out perfectly. So shit happens, okay? We're humans here on earth, and we would all love it to be like love and light and peaceful and so beautiful and all of this stuff, but unfortunately how our souls grow is through this kind of crappier stuff and things that we've labeled as being a bad thing, that happens, and it can get us so off track of what our truth actually is, because with everything that you've just posted that you've had to experience in the past couple of years, that's a lot of stuff, and yet here you still are, okay? So you're not the bad energy, but you're this space that's holding on to all of this stuff that's happening around you, and you're still coming out through it, which tells me you're actually bigger than all of this bad stuff, okay? And I want to say bad with quotations around it. So what can you do moving forward for setting an intention? How about I am safe?
There you go.
I am safe, okay? Because you've proven over and over and over again that you are safe. And perhaps if we were to look back at childhood or whatever, and you don't have to answer any of this, but perhaps when you were a child, you didn't feel safe. And so your child is actually looking for a way to feel safe. And all of this stuff happens to you. And you're going, why is this happening? Why is this happening? But you just need to know that you're safe. And so by saying to yourself, I am safe, or I am safety, that you actually start to create that kind of reality around yourself.
Exactly. And the thought that there's always a reason why everything happens. And
Yes.
and sometimes we don't understand why this happened. we want to go somewhere and we get in our car and our car breaks down.
That happened to me like 2 weeks ago.
Right? And I'm on my way, I'm going, and there's a reason why you're not supposed to go, and there's something else is supposed to happen for you. And we don't always understand it right away. We didn't get the job that we thought we wanted. There's a reason why you didn't get it, because it's not the one that was meant for you. And sometimes you just need to realize that crap happens sometimes, but we just need to let the universe look after us. And it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to like scream at those drivers who don't know what the hell they're doing. But the fact that you
Guilty.
notice them means that you're at least paying attention to the road, right? And so if having bad drivers on the road with you makes you yell at the other cars, it means they're keeping your attention on the road. So they're serving a purpose. And then at the end of it, you can sort of laugh at yourself for being so angry at somebody, yelling at somebody else in the car, and they can't hear you anyways. But you can laugh at yourself at that point. But their purpose was to keep you connected and not get distracted. And because if you get distracted when you're driving, man, you can drift off. I don't know. I haven't done this in a really long time, but I used to like suddenly be like, did I go through that light, green or red? And I mean, we keep ourselves safe, but we sometimes are so distracted we're not really paying attention. So where am I going with this? I don't know. I feel a little distracted now.
On purpose with the distraction.
Yeah. So sometimes things happen for a very good reason. A house burns down maybe because that's not the place you're meant to be living, and then you maybe settled for a second place that was not the right place. And then, I had a sewer backup in my house. I always wanted to get hardwood floors. And then I had a sewer backup. Now I have hardwood floors. Was not my intention to have the sewer backup to get me hardwood floors, but that's what happened. It's not the ideal way to do it, by the way. Don't try to manifest it. It's pretty nasty. So I totally understand, and it sometimes it doesn't really make sense why something happens, but I don't think that we've necessarily created it, but by maybe trying to force what we believe we want, by choosing something that's not really in our best and highest good, the universe will go, no, that's not for you, and finds a way to take it away, because it's really not the right thing for you.
Yeah. Amy, I am seeing what you said here. So I am married to a very negative person, which makes it very hard to set intentions and manifest things to happen for me for the positive. What do I do as our lives are joined? And then Lisa chimes in and says, I am in the same position, Amy. It can be very draining. Okay. So if you're married to someone who's negative, or perhaps you have a child who's negative, or a sister or parents who are negative,
or a co-worker,
or co-worker, basically anybody that you're in a relationship with who's negative.
So you said intention. You can't control somebody else's thoughts.
No.
But you can set intention that the situations, you can set how the situations are going to work out for you, and you set love and light around people, and is what you put out to those people is what you want for yourself. So, even when we have people that we don't necessarily like that we have to work with, if you set an intention that they are successful and find happiness, they actually you can change their vibration. So even though your husband or your spouse, shouldn't say husband, I should say spouse, even though your spouse is in a more negative mindset, if you start being able to manifest things through your positive intention, you can actually shift their belief. Their negative energy is from their learning, what they've been taught as how things have to be. And you set intention around them to be happy. I set intention that my spouse is happy and fulfilled. And it starts shifting for them as well. And it's a slower process, but it will eventually, and you just keep the positivity around what you're trying to create, a happier atmosphere at home. It takes some time, but once you get the energy moving in a more positive direction, it does start to get a little bit easier.
Yeah. And Amy and Lisa, I know you're both talking about the kind of draining energy, and I can understand this from having a negative person in my house as well. And it is very draining when they come in with this kind of like kind of energy. And one thing that I've had to learn is to be okay with them being negative, and to understand that who I am as a person and my own positivity, my own outlook on things, my own love for myself is actually bigger than any of the negativity that they're bringing in. I'm pointing at you. I'm not talking about you.
I know.
But sometimes we can actually lose our power because there's someone that's negative around us. And we say, I can't stay positive because this person's more negative than I am. And we use them as the excuse to not stay in our positivity or to step out of what our power is. But when you look at yourself and you go, okay, you know what? They can be negative all they want to. That's totally fine. I don't need to take it on. I can continue to stand in my own power. I can continue to stand in my own light, despite what it is that they're doing, because that's their path. And maybe their path is to show you how to be the most powerful, most positive person in your own light, to shine your own light as bright as what is possible, regardless as to how much that darkness is that they're bringing to the table. It's not always easy. I 100% understand it is not always easy to have that kind of negative energy around you. But when you give yourself the permission to be okay with them being in a negative spot, a lot of times it's the fixers. And I'm a fixer.
I'm a fixer too.
I like everybody to be happy. I'm a performer. What can I do to make you happy? So if someone comes in and they're negative and they're pissed off or they're sad or whatever, I'm like, oh shit, what do I got to do? And this past year has been all of this unlearning, going, I don't need to do anything. You can be how you are right now. And one way that I've had to learn how to look at it is to go, so if Janice comes into my house and she's negative, okay? And the only way she's going to release her negativity is by going pee in the bathroom. Hear me out here, okay? If I say to Janice, I will fix this for you, I will go pee so it's not too uncomfortable for you to go pee, she's still going to have to go pee. She's still going to be holding on to it. It's her energy that she's needing to release. It's not something I can do for her.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when it comes to these negative people in your life, it's not your job to make them happy. It's not your job to lose your power because they're in a negative spot. You don't need to become angry because they're angry. If you're watching something on TV, if the character is angry about whatever, I'm trying to think of a TV show right now. Not thinking of, okay, so SpongeBob, because that's the first thing that came into my mind. So if Squidward is angry at SpongeBob, SpongeBob just keeps on carrying on the way SpongeBob is, because SpongeBob doesn't give a shit as to whether or not Squidward is angry, okay? And so you don't, not that you don't have to give a shit if Squidward is angry, or if your husband is angry, or your partner, or your spouse, or Janice, or whatever else, but you don't have to get angry. You don't have to lower yourself into the vibration of someone else just to make them comfortable. You keep being the light that you are, you keep being the love that you are, and either they're going to catch up, or that vibration is going to split so much that it's no longer even something that's going to be on your energy field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not your job to make them less negative. It's not your job. But you can keep putting out intention for the energy around them to be in a more positive way, and then it's still up to them to change their perspective. It may or may not happen, but it should get easier for you if you constantly surround them with positive, loving energy.
Yeah.
And come to the realization that you can't fix anybody else. You can only fix yourself. Yeah. We've had a lot of conversations over the last 2 years about, what do we need to do? How do we fix this? How do we fix it? And this year we've been like, Nope, not my shit, not mine to fix. Off you go. And if you choose to stay there, I just surround you with love and light, and I hope you find what you need. So hopefully that will work for everybody. Hi, Rhonda. So we're just over an hour. Does anybody else have any questions that they want to throw in there before we? Because I'm not sure how long before we get like booted. So, and we'd love to have feedback on this episode, and also like if you'd like for us to talk about other things, that would be also good. The Rhonda that knows my brother from the Sioux, Rhonda?
Help me, Rhonda. I'm sorry, I probably just annoyed you because you probably heard that your entire life. I apologize for that.
Okay, so yeah, hopefully hang on.
You have to do the bar thing.
Hi Rhonda. I know who it is. Oh, also in the Sioux, Lisa. Do you also know my brother, Lisa? He keeps telling me that I need to come up to the Sioux and do a group reading. Shows in TO on this side of Toronto. Which side of Toronto, Sandy?
So Sandy, it is at the International, what was it called?
The International Center.
The International Center, which is like the Mississauga side of Toronto. So I think you're referring to like Markham because that's where you were. Okay, we've got lots of people chatting right now. How do you figure out the difference between setting your intentions and letting the universe's way? So just real quick, Natalie. So if you're setting your intention, okay, so I'm sorry, I'm drawing a mind blank here. How do you figure out the difference between setting your intentions and letting the universe's way?
So the important thing is the how. So the universe is the creator of the how. The intention is, my intention is to have enough clients and bookings to have a calendar that's this booked up. And it's not for me to decide that it needs to be this many readings and this many workshops and this many. It's about what comes my way and also the opportunities that are coming my way. So that's allowing the universe to bring me who I need to fill my calendar, as opposed to getting on the phone and phoning people saying, I'm going to book you in for a reading, even if they want it or not, right?
Yeah.
So,
and just a quick example of that. So last year, it's not a quick example, I'm sorry. We might be here another 10 minutes. So 2 years ago, I wanted to make more money in my business. And I kept saying, how do I make more money? How do I make more money? How do I make more money? And trying to come up with different workshops and different ways to bring clients in, whatever. And I was at this 3-day workshop that she had told me to go do.
Janice.
Yes, Janice had told me to do. And they asked in the workshop, what is it that your heart wants most? And all my heart was showing me was a bathtub with candles and bubbles, and I was laying in the bathtub. And I was like, well, shit, that's not how I'm going to make money. So I literally disregarded it for another 6 months. And then I went to this other retreat, like transformational weekend. And the speaker on the stage said, what is it that your heart wants most right now? And in that question, I heard rest. And I was like, started to cry. And I was like, okay, I need to take this. This is what the bathtub meant, was rest, relaxation. Now this is what my heart's showing me here. And so I started to meditate an hour a day, hour and a half a day, whatever. And then through that, I got this idea, watercolor paint. Okay, so then I sat with that for another 6 months because that's how quickly I work. And then I finally sat down and I started doing the watercolor painting, which just felt so fantastic, even though it didn't make sense to my brain. Why was I doing this? I had no idea why. And then 3 days after I was watercolor painting, I came up with the idea of an oracle deck. That oracle deck is now sold internationally. I just created another oracle deck because I really enjoy doing it. December, I guess it came out, and it's now sold internationally as well because I just sold one to New Zealand today, which was really exciting for me. But in those oracle decks being created, I actually created this residual income for myself that's making me more money than what I ever did before from working my ass off time after time after time, and my heart has more time to rest. And so I couldn't have seen that. There was absolutely no way my brain could have come up with that. I had to sit and listen to my heart. The universe took care of the how. How the person who bought in New Zealand today even came across my website, I have no idea. I haven't posted about the cards at all lately. So I have no idea. But the universe, because I put it out to the universe for 2020 that all of my decks were going to be sold internationally. And now it's not even 2020 and it's already here.
Right.
So it's about letting go of the how. It's just simply stating that intention. This is what I want. And then the universe starts to take care of everything else, because our minds can only create things from the experiences that we've had. Our hearts and the universe are able to create things from experiences that we can't even fathom even having right now.
So when she couldn't travel because her car broke down 2 weeks ago, she just
I laid in bed.
and then the universe brought her all these sales through her website of these cards that she's created, which are awesome, by the way.
They are.
They are. Everybody loves them. And,
yes.
and I think they're spectacular. And so intention is about what you want the end result to be, and the universe is the how. Yeah. It's not for you to figure out the how.
Yes.
So for the people in Sault Ste. Marie, I wouldn't come in the wintertime, but maybe I'll come in the spring, maybe summer, and we can maybe talk about doing some stuff when I come. Oshawa. Let's give some thought to Oshawa. Maybe there's something we can do.
Sandy York, the name of the deck, Bitch Slaps from the Universe. And then there's also Journey Within and Journey the Fuck Within, which are the same deck, but one is like a safe for children deck, and the other one is a adults only deck. So
yes. Bitch Slaps from the Universe has fuck on every card. Just so you know. Yeah. They're absolutely hilarious, and they're absolutely accurate. And every time I've pulled them out when I've been doing a group reading, I pull them out to pull everybody a card. Everybody's like wanting to take pictures because it's so spot on. Yeah. It's an amazing deck.
Yes. All right.
Oh, yes, I'll fly, Rhonda, but I don't want to deal with the snow. My brother posts pictures. I know what you guys get. I am wearing running shoes today because we have no snow. I don't want to come in the winter. I love Sault Ste. Marie in the summer. I'll come in the summertime.
Fair enough.
Okay. I do phone readings, Rhonda, and I do video call readings as well. So you can touch base with me after we're off the call if you like, and we can set something up if you would like. And Catherine and I will talk about Oshawa. Maybe there's something that we can create.
Always.
There's always something that can be created.
Yes.
So if you have any ideas, by all means, send it our way.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and for watching, for asking questions and everything else. It always makes it so much better when there's like interaction that's happening and stuff. And
hanging in there until it's almost 8:15. So we went longer than our hour, and we appreciate you hanging in. And by all means, send us suggestions. There's another angry face.
I know. There's someone who's just like anger and sad every time. I'm like, okay. Awesome.
So that's okay. It's okay for you to be angry. We're all right with that.
Yeah.
We're not going to take it on. We hope that you got lots of good information, and we're just honored to have the opportunity to do this for you, and we're going to do it again because we like to talk.
Yes.
I know it's hard to tell. This hour and 15 minutes of silence. But thank you, everybody. Have a happy New Year.
Yes.
And let go of all the shit that doesn't serve you anymore. And send us your ideas, if things you want us to talk about. We're pretty open to talking about a lot of stuff.
Yep.
We're trying to not make these about doing readings, although maybe we'll do one at some point. But right now, we're not doing readings. We want this to be about sharing of information and helping people to expand into a bigger and better energy.
Yes.
All right. So
Yeah.
thank you, and
Thank you.
Happy New Year, and see you later.
Bye.